the highly anticipated, maybe not highly anticipated, but we're going over the Googan Squad Contender today in Trash or Pass. Let's kick it off. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Oh my gosh! It's a whale! 9/11. Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am Alex. If you're new here, Oklahoma's worst angler, and this series is called Trash or Pass. And to give a quick explanation, Trash or Pass, I know a lot of you guys have seen this before. Like I said, there are going to be some new people on here, especially when you're talking about anything with the G word. There's most likely going to be some new people. So what Trash or Pass is, it is my first impressions and my opinion of a bait of my choice or one that has been heavily requested, like the Googan Squad Contender. And it's really just my opinion and my first impressions of taking the bait out and fishing it, seeing how it fishes, giving you guys some feedback, and then talking about the lure itself. But the biggest thing is, it's just my opinion. Just my opinion. So take it with a grain of salt. Take it for what it's worth. Check out the other episodes. We'll put a playlist in here somewhere. But today we're talking about the Googan Squad Contender. Now, as you guys saw, I got the Crappie Pattern in the Contender. Now, I actually like the Crappie Pattern in this quite a bit. It does look good. It's got the blue on the head right there, a little bit of red, pink on the belly right there. It's a pretty good print. I mean, I think they did pretty decent on the prints, especially when we're talking about a swim bait that is within that budget range. Now, getting into swim baits, I just did a live stream talking about this. There's a lot of entry-level swim baits that you can get into that are smaller, say like the Buka Bull Shad, or the Baby Bull Shad, not the Buka, that's kind of a big one. But the Baby Bull Shad, the Baby Bull Gill, I did an episode on that. There's a lot of good entry-level swim baits that are out there, hard baits, multi-jointed hard baits, that are fairly inexpensive and that are a good, introductory level into swim bait fishing. The reason I wanted to get the 7-inch Contender, not the Contender Junior, or the Junior Contender, however they call it, I just like a little bit of a bigger bait, and I wanted to see if this thing, and this is like no play on words, no pun intended, but if this is a contender in the swim bait world. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, before you fire up your keyboards here and start yelling at me, I didn't catch anything on this. But let's go ahead and roll some of the footage of me out on the water. I got some underwater footage of this thing. We're going to be casting it. I want you guys to see it in the water, see what you think about it, and then we're going to come right back here in just a second. Dude. Wow. I think it's clacking. Oh my.
That looks good. Looks real good.
That looks... Wow. That's...
We're gonna see your first...
That's really good. Guys, I'm gonna be honest with you on this bait review. Even if I don't catch anything on this thing today, I'm telling you, I am extremely impressed. I'm not going to show you guys what bait it is. Some of you can probably guess what it is. I'm not showing you. You're going to have to wait. So like I said, I did not catch anything on this bait, but that is not the bait's fault. This is where I told you guys, like, hold off on the keyboard and yelling at me. I don't fault the bait whatsoever. I think this thing was actually pretty damn impressive. That day in particular, I was throwing a bunch of different baits, and I really did not take the time to commit to the swim bait. And usually when you're throwing those bigger baits, you need a little bit of time to commit. I'm talking like a few hours most of the time. And that I didn't do because, like I said, I was doing a bunch of other ones that day, just trying to knock out some episodes for you guys. But the main thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to get this thing in the water. I wanted to see how it fished. I wanted to see how it cast. I wanted to get some feedback and how it felt in the water so I can break it down for you guys, especially if you've been looking at it and been wondering, is that something I want to spend, a little bit of money on? I think they're like $30 on Carl's. They're cheaper if you're a Carl's member. I'm not, so I just bought it at the full retail price. So honestly, I was impressed. I think I said that in the video when I was fishing it. I was very impressed. This thing, I was not expecting it to perform as well as it did. Now, you'll probably see a couple times, you either saw it already or I'm going to roll it in right now, but I'm taking that bait and I'm pulling the hook out of the joint. Now, I wouldn't fault the bait on that by any means. What I think that is simply there's just enough of a gap in that joint right there with these hooks to where it can slide in there and it can foul up the swim motion. Now, again, that's just a little minor issue. You're going to run into that with swim baits because you have such a big body bait smacking that water. There's going to be impact. There's moving parts. There's gaps. There's places where those hooks are going to get stuck. I don't think that is, that to me, that's not a deal breaker by any means. That is not a deal breaker. That is something that you can easily go back and combat. You can swap out your hardware. You can burn the thing back, fix your hook, throw it back out there. What I found is I did have to try and cushion the landing when I was making those bombing casts. What I'll do when I'm making a bombing cast and it's starting, and I can see it starting to hit that water, I will really start to thumb that brake and put my rod down to try and help it kind of cushion the impact in the landing on the water. And that seemed to take care of it. The other thing I was extremely impressed with is the burning capability of this thing. When I was burning this thing and fishing it fast, it did not blow out. Maybe one time. But I was throwing that on a Tatula 200 high gear, which is 7.3, which on like a 100 size spool or 150, it's going to be closer to an 8 gear. So I was burning this thing and reeling it very, very quickly. I was very impressed with how it just did not blow out, like I said, maybe one time. And the consistency of this thing staying true when I was burning it, when I was reeling it fast, was very impressive. The other thing that I thought was pretty impressive, and I don't know if I've already, put the underwater footage in yet, so maybe if I have, we'll put it again. If I haven't yet, we're going to put it in right now. I was impressed with the action of this in the water when you are slow retrieving and you kill it. Very impressed. This is very similar. And it's almost, you could definitely say they took a cue off of, the Buka shad baits, the bull shad baits, rather, the baby bullgill, the baby bull shad, when they made these baits as far as their action, when you kill them, how they die, how they would kind of kick off to the side. It's impressive. Now, is this a contender in the big bait world? I can't tell you. I can't tell you because my own fault here. I didn't put enough time behind it to actually catch fish and see what the hookup ratio is like on it. It looks like they've got some mustad triple grips on here, is what it looks like. They do have swiveling hook hangers, which is nothing new in the swim bait world. That's very common. And what that's meant to do is just when that fish is hooked up on there, it's so that split ring doesn't get caught on there and they're having, the extra leverage of that swim bait and the bait when they're thrashing if they're coming up and throwing their head around. So swivel hook hangers. The material on this, it's that textured material. I don't know if it's an ABS plastic or what it is. However, I was very impressed with the knock on this. Not only can you feel that thump in that rod, but you can hear that knock in the water as well. So again, is it a contender with the bigger baits that are out there? In a sense, I would say yes, just for the fact that it is very affordable. When you're talking about, a 7-inch bait, 1 3/4 ounces, anything else in that realm, you know, getting up there in the 7-inch to the 2-ounce to the 4-ounce baits, they're going to be quite a bit more expensive. Now, would I go out and stock my tackle box with these instead of, you know, a bull shad, instead of a Spro BBZ? No, probably not. Not necessarily. And that has nothing to do with the brand. It has nothing to do with these guys. It just has everything to do with the fact that those brands have been around a lot longer. They have really proven themselves. This is a very, very impressive bait. And it's a promising prospect for Googans, for the Googan squad, for the Googan bait company, for the engineers that actually designed this. Again, I was impressed. I wasn't expecting to be as impressed as I was. That's just me. So my opinion on this, I think it's good. I think it's good. If you've been curious about going out and getting a Googan Squad Contender, I think it's great. This is one of those baits that you wouldn't have to have your traditional swim bait, heavier bait gear to throw this thing. I was throwing it on a 711 HFX from Halo, which is a heavy flipping rod, is what it is. Rated up to 2 ounces, and like I said, I was throwing it on a Daiwa Tatula 200 and with 25 pound or 20 pound P-line tactical. And would I throw this on a 150 size reel? Probably not. Would I throw it on a 7.6 rod that's rated up to 2 ounces? Absolutely. But probably not on a 150 size reel. So again, it's one of those swim baits that you can get introduced to the swim bait world, but you're not having to go out and get specialty gear for it. So, Googan Squad Contender, I'd say it's a pass. I think it's pretty good. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. And, you know, if you were expecting some Googan hate today, I'm sorry. But don't give me a thumbs down just because you wanted some Googan hate, all right? Is it up there with the other swim baits? Not quite. But this is... that bait is a very good entry level into the bigger swim baits. And if you want to know one thing about big baits, from me, big baits don't always mean big fish, but big baits do mean a big bite. So, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate every single one of you. I will see you next time on the water.
Oh! Whoa! Get the net! Get the net! Oh my God! Dude! Oh my God!